Have you ever really stopped to think about what's happening behind the scenes when you click buy or sell on a currency pair? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain. We're going to look at how retail Forex brokers actually work. Because where your trade goes, well, it might not be where you think at all.
So let's just start with the most basic question there is. You've done all your homework, you've picked a direction, you hit the button to place your trade. Where does that order actually go? Does it just get zapped into some huge global system to find a matching order on the other side?
The answer, for almost every single retail trader out there, is right here. It goes absolutely nowhere. It literally never leaves your broker's own computer system. And if that sounds kind of weird, or maybe even a little shady, just stick with me because we're about to break down exactly what that means.
Okay, so that surprising little fact brings us to the first big idea we need to tackle, what I'm calling the broker myth. See, the whole reason your trade goes nowhere is because of a fundamental misunderstanding of what your so-called broker really is.
And here is the absolute key to understanding all of this. A true broker is just a middleman. They connect you to someone else. But a dealer is a principal. They're part of the transaction. They aren't finding someone to trade with you. They are the person trading with you. And this is huge. Your retail Forex provider is almost always a dealer.
So if they're a dealer and not a broker, what does that really mean for your relationship with them? This is so important because it completely changes the entire dynamic of how you should think about them.
This right here, this is everything. A client has what's called a fiduciary relationship. That's a legal term meaning the company has to act in your best interest. But when you trade with a dealer, you're not a client. You're a customer. The relationship is purely transactional. They are not obligated to act in your best interest. Their number one priority is their own bottom line.
And all of this leads us to a really core concept in trading, the idea of a counterparty. It's actually super simple. For you to buy something, someone, somewhere, has to be willing to sell it to you. And for you to sell, someone has to be willing to buy it from you. Easy enough, right?
And this is where it all clicks into place. Because your broker is a dealer, they become your direct counterparty. You are not trading through them to get to the market. You are trading against them. Your win is, quite literally, their loss. And your loss is their win.
Now, I know that can sound a little alarming, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. In a perfect world, for the broker, they have a really elegant way to make money without taking on any risk at all. Let's look at how their business model is supposed to work.
So just imagine we have two traders, Elsa and Ariel. Elsa thinks the British pound is going up, so she wants to buy. At the exact same time, Ariel thinks it's going down, so she wants to sell. And they both happen to place their order with the same broker. So what does the broker do? It's simple. The broker acts as the counterparty to both of them. It sells to Elsa, and it buys from Ariel. Inside the broker's own internal records, which they call their book, the positions are perfectly balanced. They're long and short the exact same amount at the same time. Okay, so if the trades just cancel each other out, how does the broker make any money? Well, they make it on the spread. They might sell to Elsa at a price of 1.2503, but buy from Ariel at 1.2500. That tiny little difference, just 3 pips, on this trade size nets them a cool, totally risk-free $30.
And that is the absolute key takeaway here. When the broker's book is balanced like this, they couldn't care less if the price of the pound goes to the moon or crashes to zero. It doesn't matter. They've already locked in their profit. They're completely hedged and have zero exposure to the market.
But what happens when things aren't so perfectly balanced? What happens when there's a huge news event and suddenly almost everyone wants to trade in the exact same direction? Well, this is where a massive, massive risk enters the system.
So let's blow up that last scenario. Instead of just one buyer and one seller, imagine 1,000 traders all get the same idea. They all think the pound is about to skyrocket, and every single one of them places a buy order.
Now, remember, the broker has to be the counterparty. If 1,000 traders are all buying, the broker is forced to be the seller on every single one of those trades. All of a sudden, their book is dangerously lopsided. They are now holding a gigantic short position of 100 million against the pound. The amount of money on the line here is just insane. If the market moves against the broker's position by just one single pip, they are looking at a $10,000 loss. If it moves 100 pips against them, well, you can see the math for yourself.
That's $1 million loss. Suddenly, the broker is in this terrible position where they are rooting for the market to go down, while every single one of their customers is betting that it's going to go up. And here is exactly why this should matter to you. What started out as the broker's problem, their market risk, has now become your problem. It's become your counterparty risk. Because think about it, if all those traders are right and the price shoots up 100 pips, the broker now owes them $1 million in profits.
And this brings us to the final, and honestly, the most critical question of all. How in the world does a broker manage this kind of immense risk? And more importantly, what happens if they get it wrong? The absolute worst-case scenario is this. If that broker doesn't have the $1 million in cash to pay out all those winning trades, they go bust. They become insolvent. And if that happens, your account balance, your profits, everything could just vanish.
I love this quote from the source material. It just puts it so perfectly. It's the ultimate disaster for a dealer. It means the risk they took on got way too big, their customers won big, and now the house simply can't pay out the winnings.
So to stop that from ever happening, any good broker has a very clear risk management playbook. First, they try to offset trades internally, just like they did with Elsa and Ariel. If they can't do that, they can transfer the risk, basically by hedging their own position with a much bigger bank. Or finally, if they think their customers are wrong, they can choose to accept the risk or warehouse it and basically bet against them.
And that's what I want to leave you with. You have to understand that the entire business model of a retail Forex dealer is about managing this enormous constant risk. Knowing how this works isn't just interesting trivia. It's absolutely essential for protecting yourself as a trader. So the question you need to be asking is, how does my broker manage its risk? Because at the end of the day, their risk management is your safety net.